Hello, everyone, and welcome to part three for week two. This is PFM 3130, and we will talk in this part about the entrepreneurial mindset. Now, before I start, let me tell you something. When we talk about entrepreneurial mindset, it's a debatable issue. It includes management, it includes psychology, it includes so many things. So we'll just bring what the literature is saying and what has been defined until now. But it's not really a universal one, but it has a lot of sense. So let's go and share my slides. So this is this is part three, and this is the perspective, some other perspectives. Now, we want to define the entrepreneurial mindset. So they define it as the ability to rapidly sense, act, and mobilize in response to judgmental decision under uncertainty. And please, I want you to underline this one, uncertainty. Why it is uncertainty? Because if we know things, then there is no risk in that. So you have to have that sense, and you should act and mobilize a response to those to your judgment under this uncertainty. So it's also the ability to identify and exploit opportunities. You just catch it up as opportunity without regard to what you have. Sometimes you have you see opportunity, but you say, oh, well, resources actually are not enough. I'm not prepared. I don't have the know-how. I don't have the resources, whatever. But if you are entrepreneur, they say you can take that opportunity, try to mobilize it, and act based on that. Of course, then you have to buy resources or work on that thing. So it's a dynamic process of vision, change, and creation, requiring an application of energy and passion toward the creation and implementation of new ideas. Actually, this issue of passion is very important. See, when you talk about startups, I don't know what you are going to do, but if you are going to go out and work and you want to have startup, maybe you work for a bigger startup while at the same time keep working in your startup. I know people who have 7 startups together working in the same time. Now, not all startups succeed. But of course, if you have a passion, if you are consistent about your passion, then you can create something. Actually, it's a big work. This is a business, and this business can grow and bring you to wealth, bring you to better life. So, of course, that needs too much work and need determination, and you have to have passionate about it. This is how they define it. I don't know how you define it. Maybe you have another definition for it. Think about it. So I told you this is the like a global definition of it. Now, the mindset also, you should be able to find opportunity, and if you find it, you should be very fast to act and decide. You should be goal-oriented, and you have also to have vision. So all of this actually in a circle, all of them together work together. So there are 3 things, 4 things that are actually the vision, the opportunity, catching up, and the the goal and determination, and the fast action. Other people, other than that, people can get what you have. Now, the research also, for example, Krotko, 2020, defined 3 things for the mindset. which is something like psychology here. They divided to thinking, behavior, and emotional. Now, consider these three aspects to the entrepreneurial mindset is built on the premise that the thinking, acting, and feelings of entrepreneurs are both identifiable and unique. The aspects are considered individually, but also as a whole. You can talk about organization, you can talk about country, you can talk about group, you can talk about a board in a company, you can talk about partners, you can talk about the people in your in the startup, which is 3, 4, 5 people sometimes. And in the following slide, we will explain what do we mean by thinking, the thinking aspects, the emotional aspects, and the behavior aspects. Now, let's talk about the cognitive aspects, which is the thinking one. So the trade perspective was it that entrepreneurs have unique mental process that drive entrepreneurial thinking. It is claimed that in general, which is possible after all, entrepreneurs who are successful often believe and act and similarly advise and may themselves share many similarities with others like them. But there is certainly room for debate still on whether these traits actually are universal. So is that somebody in China, like somebody in the US, in the Middle East, in India, it has some debate about that. Research in the broader entrepreneurship function space recognize that difficulties in determining exactly what these cognitive aspects might be, but do at times offer thoughtful speculations drawn from expertise, which means sometimes it can come from huge experience. This is why I say if you have huge experience, that can be actually help in your realizing or awareness or cognitive or aspects or the thinking part. Perron, in his book, suggests that two key aspects might be self-regulation, the ability to guide thoughts and behavior towards a goal, and metacognition. Now, the ability, it's about structuring your thought. If you are able to understand and regulate your own thoughts in a project, then that could be cognitive aspects, which you have it, which means you have a structured way of thinking and you can draw things clearly and you can arrange your thoughts. Now, the behavior aspect, maybe it's easier than the cognitive one. It's the action. It's the initiatives and the actions taken in response to the cognitive process. So you have decided, you have your awareness are clear, you know what you want, you have already absorbed enough thinking, then you come to the action. Now, for entrepreneurs, successful actions typically results in the creation of the new venture or the startup. We are talking about startup. It's immensely, very tedious and very, it can be very boring process sometimes, and very tiring process. Thus, the behavior aspects is centered on the actions taken to turn an opportunity to a venture, with a venture basically being sustainable, which means able to grow, have some type of scalability, and have a business model built around the identified opportunity. Given the enormous challenges and uncertainty in the venture building process, the behavior persistence to achieve this goal, also described as entrepreneurial action, is defining aspects of the entrepreneurial mindset. So you have this action and you have to have consistent in doing that. And you have persistence. Now, the third one is the emotional one. And the emotional one, look, your actions should always be rational, which means we always, when we start businesses, we put our money, and I have done it so many times. You're always under this panic, anxiety, whatever. So you have to have control of those feelings. Sometimes you will find, some action that really, get you pissed off. So when we say this, we are talking about risk, controlling risk, stress, and ego. This is the main thing of the emotional. If you have what you call, if you can control your emotions, it's around those three things, because when you are doing business, you will be subject to all those issues. So Conscience describes the mental models and use, while behavior accounts for the action taken in the response. The emotional aspect considers the role and influence of feelings with regard to the entrepreneurial success. Being able to feel and manage a range of emotions is important, as the challenge is inherent, and any entrepreneurial journey requires motivation and drive. And if you allow those to control you, like risk, stress, and ego, then there is a problem. Those are traits that benefit from emotional disposition. So it's about managing your emotions while you are on this journey. So as you can see, if we come back here, if you are able to take the opportunity, and you are fast, goal-oriented, and have vision, so you will have to be focused. And this is the thinking, and this is the thinking part. You have to demonstrate resistance of behavior and actions carrying out your project, and managing your stress, risks, panics, and all those issues. Now, this is a very important issue which I want to talk about. It's the growth mindset and comparison and comparing to the fixed mindset. Now, the fixed mindset believes that there is a limit to their abilities and intelligence, which I told you before, there is no limit. It's us who make that limit. If you believe that, then actually you cannot move. And you think that, as I told you, entrepreneurship is a discipline and it can be learned. And if you have that, if you've had that fixed mindset, which cannot be changed, under the feelings that you cannot do it, this is where you would reach. You cannot grow anymore. If you believe that you cannot grow, then you will not grow. You have a mind fixed. But the growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and intelligence are limited, yes, but only by ourselves. Which means we just think we are limited, but actually, as I told you, the abilities and the intelligence can always be brought through the management of the startup or the ownership. People with growth mindset understand that knowledge can be acquired. This is number one, and intelligence can be developed. Therefore, they work hard, constantly better themselves. A growth mindset also fuels creativity, as the habits of those with this mindset are in many ways a mirror to creative thinking. For example, willingness to try new things, and an openness to experiment. This is how it was defined by this researcher, Skorder 2017. Now, as I told you, this is a little bit psychology, but you can measure yourself there, and those take them as advices and reflect on them while you are in a journey of this entrepreneurship. Now, you bring it all together. There is no consensus in what aspects of the entrepreneurial mindset should be. As I told you, there is no global set of it. And which one is the most important, or even if this mindset is fully unique. We recognize that various factors come into play, and that thoughts, actions, and feelings are all contributed to, at the end to the outcomes we desire from entrepreneurial mindset, new solution to persistence problem that are sustainable as a venture. Individuals, also organizations, and even the countries that can reframe their perspective on the challenges they face with entrepreneurial mindset will have better odds, lives, and they survive and thrive through these disruptions. Finally, mindset alone is not always enough, as there is argument and need for robust support for the ecosystem to be in place. Which means even if you have all those things, assuming that you are working in South Korea and you want North Korea and you want to be entrepreneurial, the whole ecosystem is not helping. Nobody will allow you. No regulation will allow you. No banks will give you the money. No, you can have no access to the technologies. I don't want to talk about any country, but you have also some corrupted countries around all the world where people will actually, and the ecosystem is not ready for you to be entrepreneur. I think in Malaysia, you are okay. And this is why we have seen all these young people very successful. Now we finished that. This part, which is starting a venture, we'll talk about it in week 3 and week 4. But I just want to tell you something here in this case. When we start a venture, we come with the opportunity, we define the opportunity, we study it. We have all those, I told you, the thinking aspects, the action aspects, and all those things. But the way it works is just like this. You have to have the opportunity, you have to define a market, a user. Then you have to have somebody as incubators. As I told you, here in this country, we have so many incubators. They are small ones, but they are the ones who foster you while you grow. Before, they will help you. They will give even emotional support. This is what, when we talk about Google in part 2, they foster those companies who have some potential. Then when you do this incubation, you have to have something called and I mentioned it before, and minimum value product. That when you have your app, for example, you put it to the market and you go and the one who will use it, you have to go and see them, do focus group, do surveys, see what you think, improve it, and then get it to the market again and launch it. So this is where you can get the investors. And we will talk about the stages of the entrepreneurship and the fintech startups, and when you can get the, after the MVP, actually the minimum value product, after you test it, the investors, angel investors, or those funds, financing funds can also invest in you. And when you grow, you have so many options, either to bring patrons with you, and I have uploaded for you some videos for this guy who wants to introduce what we call the community ATM machines. You can look at that video. You can go to investors. Investors can invest with you, can take some part of your equity. If you don't want that and you have the growth, you can just continue and grow. You can sell big part, or you can sell the whole thing and leave, and which we call it exit. Or you can say, okay, I'm now big enough in a way that I can change myself from a private company and start up to a public company. A private company of 5 million ringgit or to 50 million ringgit, which you can be listed in any stock market, and then you will have shareholders and you will have public listed company. We will talk about financing and those exit strategies and equities and partnerships in the growth area later on. Thank you very much. And this is actually, I want you to reflect on all those things for the three parts, whether you have understood it. I am done, and thank you very much. This is the resources. You can read some of those papers. They talk about entrepreneurship, and they talk about environmental aspects and all those issues. Thank you very much. And this is the third one. And I will say thank you and bye-bye. See you in class. Bye.